One of Alton Towers' most beloved roller coasters has been at the park since 1998, and it sees guests drop down a vertical drop underground, followed by an exhilarating turn and hill, and then you just sit on a brake run for ages. If you somehow don't know yet, I am of course talking about the roller coaster Oblivion, the very retro, ominously themed B&M dive coaster, and well, it's been at the park for almost 30 years now, which is almost how long Nemesis went before that got rebirthed and reborn. So thinking about what they did to Nemesis, and of course the fact Oblivion is now the oldest major roller coaster at the park, you can't help but wonder, what does the future hold for that ride? Well, today I'm going to discuss all of the different possibilities. Could it stay for even longer? Could it get retracked? Could it get reborn? Or would it be turned into a whole new roller coaster? Make sure you watch till the end so you can see my full opinion and some of your guys' opinions. And if you aren't already, please be sure to subscribe to the channel. We are now under 1,000 subscribers away from 100k, which is so insane. We are so close now, so any help towards that goal would be massively appreciated. So then, Oblivion, the world's first vertical drop roller coaster. Usually when it comes to these sort of speculation videos, I say that I'm going to do a history lesson to begin with, but this time, I don't feel like doing that. Let's just discuss where this topic has come from. I can't lie, there's literally no other real reason than me wanting to make a video on it. But no, seriously, if we look at some of the rides that we imagine will probably go in the next few years at Alton Towers, we often look and talk about Galactica and Rita, even Spinball Whizzer gets a mention occasionally. And you know, they're talked about in good reason. Galactica doesn't really fit in its area at all. Spinball Whizzer isn't on the same level as some of the coasters at Towers, and Rita is, well, Rita. But I feel like a lot of people often forget about Oblivion being in that sort of roster that could eventually be removed. And that's purely because everyone loves it so much. And I do too, don't get me wrong. But sadly, at some point in the future, Alton Towers are going to have to remove that ride. The one that, you know, you go down into a hole underground and riders don't come out the other side. Because they can't have that forever, can they? Basket case. Oblivion, like most rides, is just getting on a bit. I mean, the ride itself, as much as it's very short, isn't the smoothest anymore. And unless we're in an era where this does happen, nostalgia can't keep them back from making too many new rides over and over and over and over again. But you never know. So let's discuss the different options that Alton Towers could sort of make and do with Oblivion. And there's quite a few to go through here. The first of which is extremely interesting and speculative in them just leaving it as it is. The ride could run a lot longer than we think, you know. It could be sending riders for another 30 years. I kind of hope that's not the case, because by that point the ride will probably be crumbling. But eventually, as the ride goes on, considering it was a prototype ride, there could be issues structurally with something like Nemi Reeves had. That's part of the reason why Nemesis Reborn became a thing. Or there may be a lack of ridership or something. Or, in turn, Oblivion could literally just run with no issues for, like I said, another 30 years. But even still, one day in the future, whether it be 30 years or 30 days, they are going to have to do something to that ride. And what could be done to it? You ask so politely to me, Engineer Digital. Well, going back to what I previously said, what if Alton Towers decide to go down the Nemesis Reborn route for Oblivion and create Oblivion is Here again? What a fantastic name. Due to the size of the tunnel for that drop and the sheer scale of the ride underground, it would probably be the biggest struggle they've ever faced trying to retrack it down there, if they did do that. But of course, if they did it exactly the same, where they only replaced the actual ride layout track, not the lift hill and the brake run, then it would be a lot easier and cheaper to actually do, because it's literally a drop, turn and a tiny hill. Damn, so much retracking work right there. Might as well do that right now, even if it does go in a few years. And of course, with the retrack of Nemesis, when they did that, they also rethemed it slightly. So could we see, if they were to do that, a brand new theme for Oblivion? You know, it might sort of tie in the Smiler a little bit more. Never know, we might even get a yellow vein down the side of the track. Or it could keep that retro feel, but maybe make it, I don't know, a little bit more spruced up and vibrant. Yeah, a re-theme is probably pushing the boat out way too far, and a retrack in general, I don't think that is going to happen. People want something new and big and exciting at Alton Towers. So after a while to just, you know, reopen Oblivion as this retracked coaster, I don't know, whether I'd like that. And yes, I know they did it for Nemesis, but at the same time, Galactica's probably going to get rethemed and stick around, and then doing it for Oblivion after them two, it's getting old. But that is subject to opinion, as is what I would prefer them to do instead of this retrack. And that is if they retracked the ride and added loads of elements afterwards. I say loads, but they'd all be under the tree line, so probably about one. Obviously, like I've said, there are many other B&M dive machines around the world that have way more elements other than the drop. Different trains, so we can have floorless trains. The drop would actually be vertical and not 87.5 degrees. I mean, some of the dive coasters have even gone beyond vertical. And then after the drop, they have various like Immelmans and airtime hills, vertical loops. Now, there's so many different things you could do after a vertical drop. So considering the area that Oblivion has around it, why would they not extend the layout a little bit and add a few of those inversions and elements? It would be really cool to see an Oblivion Mark II, or much like Oblivion the Black Hole in Godland, something like that, you know. The only task would be to keep the speed of Oblivion going around the rest of the layout, because 90% of it is underground. So you'd come back up and probably manage a 0G roll, and then that's it. So maybe they could dig down the area more and sort of create this massive plot of land for Oblivion to do more. Could we actually see Oblivion be longer than 5 seconds long? I think it's definitely plausible. I mean, it'd be a lot trickier in hindsight to actually build it and work out all the different speeds and stuff, but I would really like to see what they could do with that. But say retracking that drop and doing all the elements afterwards wasn't on the cards, and they thought, no, we ain't doing that. What are the alternate options other than a Smiler retheme? Well, the main one is to destroy it and start again. Goodbye, Oblivion. Now, would they want to do that because of the iconic vertical or near vertical drop? Probably not. But again, if we're moving on from that nostalgia and we're sort of moving past Oblivion's time and we're going on to something better, I guess, they could get a roller coaster with some sort of record-breaking feature on it that is a lot more modern and will probably have, well, I say higher capacity. Oblivion just eats people. Not in the hole whilst you're on it, obviously. But again, it could have a much longer layout and some sort of feature on it that could entice a lot more people nowadays. You could remove the entire coaster and even the tunnel, maybe, and you could use that entire plot of land and that hill to make a sort of massive new layout. Whether it be a launch coaster, a multi-launch airtime-based coaster, something like that. Can you tell I just want a good launch coaster at Towers? Or even a brand new model of ride in that area. I'm sure they do a good job at it. I know it's not new and it's very similar looking to the Smiler, but give us a Max Striker, please. Now, I don't really know what ride types they would actually use to make an entirely new coaster without the tunnel, but I have one or two silly ideas that they could use with the tunnel. If they really want to keep the vertical drop going underground on a new ride that replaces Oblivion, then why don't they use the brand new, very much up and coming, new generation tilt coasters by Vekoma? There's quite a few of these being built in the world currently, and of course they have that massive bit right at the top of the lift hill where it sort of tilts you over and you... Hang on, we need to reenact this. I did this before, but we'll do it again. It goes like this. And then from that point, it will drop you downwards into the rest of the layout. And with the way Vekoma does operate, you could even have launches partway through the layout above ground to give it some more speed. Now, I'd love to see this, but my only thought is when the track's actually tilting, the track would probably go above the tree line at the back. But who cares about the locals, am I right? I think I've gone crazy. I don't know what's going on. I genuinely couldn't tell you properly what they're going to do. But you guys can. Let's read them, shall we? I think they will go to flawless trains and retrack the sections that they can. They might also update the theming. Yeah, see, flawless trains, maybe that's the update we need, some new trains just to keep it going a bit longer. But the retracking sections, as much as I sort of don't want that to happen, it seems the most likely, because I don't know what else they could do. How about Oblivion the Blast Coaster? It would launch up instead of drop down, perhaps a Max Striker coaster like you showed. We love a Max Striker, very similar to the Smiler, but I don't care. But no, I'd be down to see that, something a bit different. Gerstlauer dive coaster like Hangtai would be kind of awesome. I think, I don't know, that would just become Gerstlauer sector. Whatever happens, I hope they never lose that funky soundtrack. So real. I absolutely love the Oblivion soundtrack. To lose that would be a travesty. There you go. Would like to see a retrack with extended layout and actual vertical drop. There you go. I said that as well. Retrack it, add more theming and add a new flat ride. That would be really good. Personally, I think they shouldn't make a habit of retracking rides. See, we're just on the same wavelength, everyone. Give it 15 inversions to beat the Smiler. Right.
See you around. Bye.